you truly know the people around you? Not their names, not their roles, not their smiles. I mean their essence, the silent forces beneath their words, the shadows hidden beneath their gestures. We like to believe we can sense danger, as if evil always arrives with a clear warning, a glare, a frown, a hostile tone. But what if the most dangerous forces wear a smile? What if destruction enters your life not through enemies, but through those you trust most? Friends, family, lovers. The truth is this: much of human behavior is not chosen. It is unconscious. Like waves crashing against a shore, people act out ancient wounds, hidden complexes, and repressed desires. And when those tides are blind, they spill into you. You become a vessel for storms that were never yours. Carl Jung once said, "Until you make the unconscious conscious, it will direct your life and you will call it fate." Tonight, we are not here to judge others. We are here to see, to pierce through illusions, to expose 6 types of emotionally dangerous people, not monsters, but carriers of unresolved pain that can drain your soul if you remain asleep. And as we move forward, I'll also ask you to reflect. Could one of these 6 live not only around you, but within you? Stay with me until the end, because by the final chapter, I'll hand you 10 practical tools to protect your mind, reclaim your energy, and live with clarity in a world that feeds on confusion. Before we go deeper, pause for a moment. If this journey already resonates with you, subscribe to the channel. Let's keep walking together into the depths. The first shadow, the emotional mirror. The first type is what I call the emotional mirror. You know them. They always reflect their pain back onto you. If they feel anger, it's because you provoked it. If they feel sadness, it's because you disappointed them. Their inner chaos is handed to you like a burden you never asked to carry. This is what Jung called projection, a psychic blindness where someone cannot face their own wounds, so they paint them onto others. You become the canvas of their unresolved story. At first, they may appear fragile, sensitive, even deep. But slowly, their need for survival becomes your prison. Every interaction leaves you doubting yourself. Was I too harsh? Did I do something wrong? Am I toxic? The emotional mirror is not malicious. They are simply terrified of looking inward. So they offload the task onto you, but in doing so, they chain you to their unending storm. But projection is only the first disguise. What happens when the mask becomes so perfect, you forget there's even a person behind it? That's where we meet the next archetype. The mask bearer. If the first type projects their wounds, the second hides them. The mask bearer lives for appearances. They've perfected their smile, their posture, their story. Everything seems polished, controlled, impeccable. Yet something feels off. Their presence is like watching a play. Words rehearsed, gestures flawless. But where is the rawness, the spontaneity, the truth? Jung described this as the persona, the social mask we all wear to function in society. A doctor, a teacher, a parent. The mask itself isn't wrong, but when you become the mask, you lose your soul. With the mask bearer, you never meet their essence. You meet only what they think they should be, and slowly they draw you into the same theater. You begin to suppress your authenticity to match their illusion. You start performing too. And the tragedy, behind the perfect smile, there is often a crumbling soul, repressed desires fermenting into shadow. And when that shadow finally breaks free, the explosion is far more violent than you expect. That explosion leads us to the third type, the one who represses their darkness until it erupts in ways no one sees coming. This type seems harmless, even admirable. Always polite, always moderate, always good. But beneath the polished surface lives a shadow they refuse to acknowledge. They've decided anger is wrong, desire is wrong, envy is wrong, so they push it all down. And what is suppressed does not die, it waits. Jung wrote, "The shadow is everything the individual refuses to acknowledge about themselves, yet still insists on appearing in the world." So the carrier of the repressed shadow is like a ticking bomb. They tolerate everything until one day they don't, And when the eruption comes, it is devastating. A lifetime of denial unleashed in one violent burst. Living with this type feels like walking through a minefield. You never know which step will trigger the explosion. And when it comes, it feels disproportionate, because it is not about you. It's about years of suppressed darkness finally demanding air. But some don't just erupt. Some use morality itself as their weapon, making you feel guilty for simply existing. Let's meet them now. The moral controller. Not all prisons have bars. Some are built from rules, dogmas, and guilt. The moral controller thrives here. They always know what is right, what is proper, what is virtuous. But their righteousness isn't born from wisdom. It's born from repression. They cannot face their own shadow, so they project evil onto everyone else. They tell you, I'm only helping you. But beneath the guidance is a dagger of judgment. They say it's for your own good. But what they really mean is, obey the standard I cannot live by myself. Jung observed that when morality becomes a mask, it is one of the most dangerous forms of repression. The moral controller convinces themselves they are saviors, when in truth they are enslaved by the image of purity. Living near them, you feel perpetually guilty, as if your natural impulses, your joy, your humanity are sins. Slowly you begin to shrink, to censor yourself, to fit into their narrow cage. But guilt isn't the only weapon. Sometimes the unconscious takes full control, creating reactions so unpredictable that you feel like you're living with multiple people in one body. The fragmented complexed. Imagine someone who one moment embraces you and the next moment turns cold, who today is affectionate and tomorrow accuses you of betrayal, who reacts not to you, but to ghosts from their past. This is the complexed individual, dominated by unconscious complexes, emotional fragments born of old traumas. Jung explained that complexes are like little personalities living inside us, with their own voices, fears, and demands. When triggered, they hijack the person entirely. So when you're with the complexed, you are not meeting them. You are meeting their abandoned child, their rejected self, their old wound. And no matter what you say, you cannot reason with a ghost. The danger here is inconsistency. The cycle of affection and hostility creates confusion, even addiction. You keep chasing the good side, believing it will return. But the storm always comes back. And finally, we arrive at the most silent predator of them all, the one who doesn't need to shout, to accuse, or to control. They simply drain you until nothing remains. If you're finding value in these insights, pause now and subscribe. By joining, you help this message reach more people who need it, and you ensure you won't miss the next deep dive. The psychic vampire. Some people don't want your presence. They want your energy. The psychic vampire thrives on emotional dependency. At first, it feels like love. They need you. They confide in you. They call you their savior. But slowly, their need becomes endless. Your time is consumed. Your silence feels like abandonment. Your desire for space is called selfishness. And before you know it, you're carrying their life on your shoulders. The danger is not aggression, it's erosion. Day by day, your energy dissolves, until you can no longer tell where they end and you begin. Jung spoke of pathological symbiosis, relationships where two people no longer exist as individuals, but as tangled extensions of each other. This is the vampire's true gift, making you forget your own self. Now that we've seen the 6 types, we must ask, why do they do this? Why do these patterns exist in the first place? Why they do what they do? Here's the truth. None of these 6 types wake up in the morning deciding to harm you. They don't scheme, at least not consciously. Their behavior is a survival strategy. The emotional mirror projects because the pain inside is unbearable. The mask bearer hides because the truth of their soul feels too raw. The carrier of the repressed shadow suppresses because they fear rejection. The moral controller clings to rules because chaos terrifies them. The complexed are hijacked by trauma fragments they never healed. And the psychic vampire drains because they never learned to feed themselves. These patterns are unconscious shields, defense mechanisms forged in childhood when vulnerability felt too dangerous. Each archetype is, in its essence, a wounded child wearing adult clothes. But here lies the danger. Unconscious protection becomes unconscious destruction. What once defended them now hurts everyone around them. And the ones they drain the most? They are not random. There is a specific kind of person who becomes their favorite host, who they drain the most. The people most vulnerable to these archetypes are not the strongest nor the weakest. They are the empathic, the ones who feel deeply, who listen without judgment, who give without counting. Why? Because empaths have open borders. Their compassion becomes the doorway through which others' unconscious storms enter. The emotional mirror thrives on empaths because they accept blame. The mask bearer thrives on empaths because they sense the pain beneath the mask and want to heal it. The psychic vampire thrives on empaths because their energy is abundant and freely given. It is not cruelty that makes you vulnerable. It is your light. But remember this, light without boundaries becomes fuel for darkness. So how do you know if you're caught in one of these dynamics? The signs are subtle, but once you see them, you can never unsee them. Signs you are involved. Here are the red flags. You leave conversations feeling drained, not nourished. You constantly second-guess yourself, replaying words and actions. You feel guilty for wanting space. You feel responsible for emotions you didn't cause. You suppress your authenticity to avoid conflict. You live on eggshells, never sure when the next explosion will come. If these signs are familiar, pause. Awareness is the first step. Do not explain them away. Do not spiritualize them into lessons. See them for what they are. Energy dynamics that are not yours to carry. But awareness alone is not enough, because these patterns weave webs of guilt and self-blame that keep you trapped. Let's expose that next, the trap of self-blame. The cruelest part of these relationships is not their chaos. It is the way they convince you it is your fault. The manipulator makes you believe you caused their anger. The mask bearer makes you believe you're too much. The complex makes you believe you triggered them. The vampire makes you believe you're selfish. And because you care, you accept it. You try harder, you give more, you bend further. But the cycle never ends because the problem is not you. It is their unconscious bleeding into your life. Jung warned that projection creates psychic blindness. You stop seeing the other as they are, and instead carry their shadow as if it were your own. So how do you break free? First, we must face the shield that cuts through all illusions. Awareness. Awareness as the first shield. Awareness is not passive. It is the most powerful form of defense. To see clearly is to no longer be deceived. When you recognize projection, you stop internalizing it. When you see the mask, you stop bowing to it. When you notice the vampire's hunger, you stop feeding it. Awareness creates a sacred pause between their storm and your response. And in that pause lives freedom. But awareness must become action. Otherwise, it becomes another form of spiritual bypassing. That's why in the next chapters, I'll hand you 10 practical tools. Simple, real-world defenses that protect your soul without closing your heart. Before we enter the tools, subscribe now. These practices are what transform insight into liberation, and I want you to have them all. Tool 1. Boundaries. Boundaries are love in action. Not walls, but doors. They allow what nourishes and reject what poisons. Say no without apology. Limit your availability. Protect your time, because every yes to them is a no to yourself. Why it works. Boundaries reprogram your nervous system to stop equating love with sacrifice. They teach others where you end and they begin. Tool 2. Journaling. Writing is alchemy. It extracts hidden emotions and shows you what is yours versus what is projected onto you. Tool 3. Mindfulness. Observe your emotions like clouds passing through the sky. This prevents others' storms from merging with your weather. Tool 4. Limited exposure. You cannot heal in the environment that sickens you. Create distance. Even silence is medicine. Tool 5. Reframing. Stop asking, "What's wrong with me?" Instead ask, "What's happening in them that they cannot hold?" This reframe shifts blame back where it belongs. Tool 6. Therapy or coaching. A trained witness helps you disentangle your story from theirs. Tool 7, embodiment practices, yoga, breathwork, or a movement release trapped emotions so you don't store others' pain in your body. Tool 8, energy audits. Regularly ask, who leaves me lighter? Who leaves me heavier? Then adjust. Tool 9, assertive communication. Speak truth calmly and firmly. I will not accept being blamed for emotions I did not cause. Tool 10, cultivating solitude alone. Time reconnects you to your essence. The more you know your own energy, the less you confuse it with someone else's. From chaos to clarity. Now you see the 6 archetypes. You see why they act as they do, who they drain, and how to defend yourself. But the final truth is this: none of us are immune. At some point, we have all been the mirror, the mask bearer, the vampire. This is not about blame, it is about awakening. When you see these patterns in others, protect yourself. When you see them in yourself, integrate them. Bring them into awareness. Heal them. Clarity does not mean isolation. It means connection without bondage. It means compassion without sacrifice. It means sovereignty of your soul. Take these 10 tools, practice them, anchor them, and let them remind you, your energy is sacred. Your soul is not a vessel for others' shadows. You are light, with the right to burn brightly without apology. If this message touched you, subscribe now and share it. Someone you know is living in the dark, and your action may be their light. Stay tuned for the next video, because the more we shed light on the unconscious, the less it controls us.